Dio were an American heavy metal band who existed from 1982 to 2010. They were formed by two members of Black Sabbath, including the singer Ronnie James Dio, a bassist from Rainbow, and a guitarist who was replaced before the first album by an unknown Northern Irish guitarist. Ronnie James Dio himself was the only constant member through their existence. They released 10 studio albums and 7 live albums. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the first album by Dio, and it's my second time reviewing it. We've had a few of these recently. I reviewed this 2 or 3 years ago, with 3 or 4 actually now, when I had a blog that I was doing reviews of. But of course, I did new listens, and have I got new opinions? Well, I haven't changed my opinion hugely, but I'm not just regurgitating my old review. So this is heavy metal, or possibly you could think of it as hard rock. It's similar in some ways, I would say, to contemporaries like Iron Maiden and AC/DC, and I've written Led Zeppelin, but I don't mean that. I mean Def Leppard. I always get the names of those two mixed up, although in my head, of course, I know the difference between them. And this was labeled metal. Retrospectively, if you heard something like this, you might not label it, or if it was brought out now, you might not call it metal. And that's because metal, to my mind, went through a huge change at the end of the 80s into the early 90s, where they detuned the guitars, went very chuggy, and started to growl and scream rather than sing, and it goes for some very different harmonic structures as well. Um, so this is more rock-like than metal-like as far as metal these days is concerned. There's quite a bit of chuggy guitar here. I can't remember if I heard any keyboard in here, but there's definitely guitar, bass, and drums as the core of this. And they're pretty tight. Oh, on the singing, of course, and occasional bits of sound effects. Most of it is quite kind of chuggy metal, but there's occasionally quieter bits, but they still have that kind of metal feel. There's a particular feel to quiet bits, passages in metal. I'm not quite sure I could put my finger on why they sound metallic, but they do. And the start of Don't Talk to Strangers is probably the best example of that. Um, so it's fairly heavy. It's quite tightly done. We've got guitar solos, which could be described as shredding, if I knew exactly what shredding meant. It's kind of fast stuff at times. And the singing is waily metal singing that can go quite high and has got quite a bit of vibrato on it. It's very dramatic stuff, and it's strong. It's got clear lyrics, and it's got a nice feel to the singing. In fact, I would say that the singing is uh, kind of brings strength to it. I was going to say it's the best thing. I'm not sure it is, but it makes the strength of the sound here. The songs are mostly about fantasy stuff. Apparently, Dio was a fan of Lord of the Rings, and so decided to go that way with his songwriting. Mostly it's mildly interesting. I found Rainbow in the Dark a little bit annoying, but I found Don't Talk to Strangers quite interesting. I think Gypsy is about a riverboat, but I'm not quite sure. And overall, I fairly enjoyed it. I know it's a classic of metal, and it squarely does what the genre was looking for, I think, at this time. Maybe it was moving things on. I mean, we're a little bit early. Um, tend to, I mean, I do like some metal, but this is maybe a bit too core metal for me. I tend to like things that are a bit on the edge, a bit more than this. So it hasn't got the huge score because while I felt like it did the job well, I don't think it's the job that I best enjoy listening to in terms of metal. So a bit of a muted response from me, but I still think it's a strong album. And I'd love to know what you think. So could you please leave me a comment and let me know? And that's it from me for now.
Don't talk to strangers, 'cause they're only there to do you harm. Don't write in starlight, 'cause the words may come out